Are you serious? Are you serious, folks? We don't need a Middle East war. We don't need Middle East madness, but we might get it. The Saudi Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, has just called the supreme leader of Iran, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has just called him the new Hitler. What? Well, Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, who's already making headway before even taking the throne, having 49 of the top billionaires, really, millionaires, billionaires that are in Saudi Arabia. He had a bunch of them arrested. 11 of them were Saudi princes, and he has taken $500 billion from them, having thrown them into makeshift detentions and now interrogation. Well, here's the situation. The Saudi Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, has denounced Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, as the new Hitler of the Middle East, as tensions simmer between the regional rivals. Saudi Arabia and its arch-rival Iran have traded bitter war of words after a missile fired out of Yemen was intercepted on November 4th. The missile was headed toward the capital of Saudi Arabia. It was fired by the Yemen Houthi rebels that are backed and supported by Iran. The Iran's supreme leader, the new Hitler of the Middle East, said Prince Mohammed bin Salman. He told the New York Times in an interview yesterday, and we learned from Europe that the appeasement doesn't work. We don't want the new Hitler in Iran to repeat what happened in Europe in the Middle East. So Tehran, Iran, has strongly denied supplying any missiles to the rebels that are in Yemen, and President Hassan Rouhani of Iran has warned the Saudi Arabians of Iran's might. The spike in tensions coincides with Prince Mohammed's new anti-corruption purge, which saw around 200 elite, including 11 princesses, ministers, business tycoons, were all arrested or fired earlier this month. The prince described it as ludicrous, reports quoting the crackdown as a power grab, saying that many of those detained were being held at the opulent Ritz-Carlton Hotel, had already pledged allegiance to him. A majority of the royal family is behind him, the prince said, dismissing the long-standing rumors of internal opposition to his rhetoric and his rise. But it is true. He confiscated $500 billion from especially the top 38. Now, he didn't take all their money, but he took a big portion of their money. I believe he's using it to fund. I think he's going to use it to fund the war with Iran. You see, because he just purchased $100 billion worth of weapons from the United States. And so if he gets $500 billion from the top 38, or some 38, I shouldn't say they're the very top, but 38 wealthy tycoons in Saudi Arabia, he gets $500 billion from them, use $100 billion of it to buy the arms from the Americans, and use the other $400 billion if he needs to fight a war with Iran, to equip his soldiers and training and everything else it has to. So they're building up. They're gearing up for the major confrontation, which is what Avi Lipkin said is coming. A war, he told me this 18 months ago. There's a war coming. Sunni Muslims against Shiite Muslims. The Sunni Muslims of Saudi Arabia against the Shiites of Iran. And he said 95% of those detained agreed on a settlement. In other words, they agreed to give up so much cash to be left alone, or handing over ill-gotten gains to the Saudi state treasury. All right. So Saudi Arabia's attorney general estimates the $100 billion that was misused in embezzlement money and corruption has already been taken. So we'll see how this all plays out, okay, over a period of time. But the Saudi prince, Mohammed bin Salman, showing a lot of muscle. He was just named Saudi prince about 6 or 7 months ago by his father, King Salman, who's way up in his 80s and is not going to be around much longer. The young 32-year-old Saudi prince has been given the crown prince position, and he's already making a purge that he did in the government and a confiscation of funds, purchasing of new weaponry, and a war of words with the supreme leader of the nation of Iran. Wow, are you serious? Something biblical is going on here with the signs of the second coming of Christ. And remember, Saudi Arabia is building alliances with their other kingdoms, the other Arab monarchies, Bahrain and Qatar and Kuwait and others that are in the area there, United Arab Emirates and others are joining in because they're all Sunnis, okay? Also, there's been conversations going back and forth between the Saudi crown prince and the Israelis, as they have a common enemy in Iran. So, and of course, Jared Kushner has been there 4 times in 4 months. I believe he was participating in this purge, helping share financial information about certain individuals within Saudi Arabia so that King Salman could understand what it is that these some of these guys were doing and how they were acquiring some of their wealth. This helped. I mean, think about it. Kirshner knows who they are. He's in that whole world, okay, the big money world. He can tell the Saudi prince who's doing what. The Saudi prince can have certain people arrested. They can do settlements. He can get some of their cash, turn around, and then spend the money buying the $100 billion worth of weapons that President Trump just sold him when he made his trip to Saudi Arabia. All right? So, in other words, Saudi Arabians, the United States is behind Saudi Arabia, and the Russians are behind the Iranians. So you're getting ready to see the ugliest war in history, the Middle East madness. And Israel knows that when this thing breaks out, someone's going to come hunting, just going to come for them, just because they're there and everybody hates them. So this is that's why the United States, President Trump, has really locked arms with Benjamin Netanyahu, and the United States is going to build a military base. They've already broke ground. They're going to build a military base, first time ever, in Israel. So all of these things are brewing. You can look at the Bible. If you want to go to Ezekiel 38, you'll see that they're starting to converge, the Fab Five that are mentioned in Ezekiel 38. Turkey, Iran, Syria. I mean, you can see them. Turkey, Iran, Russia, Ethiopia, and Libya. They're all there, plus other nations. So there's a coalition being built. And then you can also see Psalms 83, how that there's many nations coming against Israel. So we're going to watch all this play out right before your very eyes. We'll talk about it today in our live broadcast. Starts at 12 noon Eastern at my website at paulbegleyprophecy.com and also right here on this YouTube channel.